The vastness of the Ixion royal spire was meant to inspire awe, and it did in a cold and imposing way. The throne room was a cavern of polished obsidian and shimmering energy fields, a monument to a species that valued strength and subtle terror. The queen stood upon the dais, a figure of silent power. Her carapace, the color of deep space dusted with violet nebula, caught the low light. Her multifaceted eyes, capable of perceiving 1,000 data points at once, saw everything and nothing. She had seen cycles of rule, of war, of quiet diplomacy. She had buried a mate, lost to a cosmic instability, and with him, a part of her own resonance had faded into silence. The Grand Advisor, a being of many slender limbs, approached with a gait that betrayed agitation. "My queen, a galactic accord insists. For the security of the Trade Summit, an integrated security detail is mandated. Their representative is here." A flicker of irritation, a minute shift in the pheromonal aura around her. Another bureaucratic gesture. "Let their soldier stand with the others. See that it is placed somewhere unobtrusive. It is not a it, Majesty. It is a human, and the Accord insists he be assigned to your personal vicinity." A show of unity. The word hung in the air. Human. A young species, loud, fractious, oddly resilient. They were a physiological paradox, simultaneously fragile and enduring. Their technology, a haphazard blend of crude and clever. The Queen had seen their files. They were tactile, emotionally transparent to the point of vulgarity, and they had a disconcerting habit of staring. "Very well," she resonated, her voice a low hum that vibrated in the chest. "Let it be done. But ensure it understands the protocols. No close approach. No direct frequency. The great doors, 30 feet high and made of a translucent mineral, parted with a whisper. The figure that entered was a study in contrast to the flowing, chitinous elegance of the Ixion court. He moved with a solid, grounded gait, not the graceful glide of her guards. He was encased in a dark gray uniform, functional and unadorned, a stark block against the shimmering backdrop. His face, what she could see of it under the helmet's visor, was a landscape of simple, weathered plains. He was announced, his designation a string of numbers and letters. He took the position indicated by the advisor, 10 paces from the base of the dais to her right. He became a statue, his hands clasped behind his back, his gaze fixed on the middle distance as drilled into him. The Queen, after one dismissive glance, returned her perception to the endless stream of data flowing through her mind. The trade quotas, the stability of the hydrocores, the distant murmur of a separatist faction. Hours passed. The shifting light from the artificial star high above painted slow arcs across the floor. The human did not move. He did not fidget, did not request sustenance, did not attempt to scan her with any visible technology. He simply was. A quiet, dense presence. It was, she admitted reluctantly, correct behavior. It was during the audience with the nervous envoy from the gelid clusters that the anomaly occurred. The envoy, a gaseous being contained in a mobile repulsor field, was explaining a shortfall in cryogem shipments. Its translator unit, faulty, began emitting a high-pitched oscillating whine. The frequency was harmless, but piercing, a needle of sound that rattled the finer auditory receptors of every Ixion present. The Queen felt a ripple of discomfort pass through her guards, a slight stiffening in their limbs. The human moved. It was not a startle, but a slow, deliberate turn of his helmeted head toward the envoy. Then he did something inexplicable. He lifted a hand, not to a weapon, but to the side of his helmet. There was a soft, almost inaudible click. A filter engaging. A minor, sensible action. But the way his gloved fingers tapped once, twice, against the helmet's casing after silencing the whine. It was a specific rhythm. A idle, personal habit. The queen froze. Every processor in her mind, every thread of thought, screeched to a halt. That tap, tap, tap. The precise interval between the beats. It was not a standard military signal. It was a pattern. A pattern her lost mate would use when adjusting his own interface. A private little cadence he had picked up from an ancient Ixian lullaby. A resonance of him. A ghost note. Her multifaceted eyes, which saw in spectra far beyond the humans visible, locked onto the soldier. She dismissed the envoy with a wave so abrupt it sent the being floating backward in confusion. The throne room emptied, the advisor shooting a concerned glance she did not acknowledge. Soon, it was just the queen on her dais and the static human figure 10 paces away. Guard. The word resonated, sharper than she intended. The human turned his body toward her, a precise military pivot. Your Majesty. His voice, filtered through the helmet, was a calm, neutral baritone. Remove your helmet. A pause. Protocol forbade this. A direct order from a sovereign overrode protocol. His hands came up, grasped the helmet seals. There was a hiss of equalizing pressure. He lifted it away, tucking it under his arm. The queen felt the floor of the dais become insubstantial. The face revealed was not Ixian. It was fleshy, with a prominent brow ridge, eyes of a simple blue-brown hue, skin marked by the lines of time and weather. But the structure, the angle of the jaw, the set of the shoulders beneath the uniform, the way he stood with his weight slightly on his left foot, the calm, assessing stillness of him. It was a mirror of form, of posture, of essence. Not a copy, but a profound echo. The pheromonal aura around her, which had been a controlled, muted field for cycles, rippled violently, broadcasting a shock so profound it would have sent any Ixian in the room to their knees. The human did not kneel. He blinked, his expression one of careful neutrality, but his eyes, they held a depth, a quiet understanding of monumental strangeness. He saw her not just as a queen, but as a being in a moment of fracture. You. The resonance failed her. She switched to Galactic Common, the language his translator would understand. What is your designation? Ma'am, I am a sergeant of the Earth Integrated Forces. My designation is... Not that, she interrupted, her voice barely a whisper in the vast space. The tapping. On the helmet. Why did you do it that way? He was silent for a long moment, assessing her. He saw the frozen grandeur, the tremble in the delicate tips of her upper limbs. An old habit, ma'am. Something my wife used to do. On my shoulder, before I left for a tour. A little rhythm. She said it was for luck. He paused. It's calming. I do it without thinking sometimes. Wife. The word was a hammer blow. A counterpart. A resonance. The queen took a step down from the dais, an unprecedented action. She descended until she stood on the same level, though still separated by several paces. She studied him, her faculties drinking in every detail. The human eyes held confusion, wariness, but no fear. And in that lack of fear, in the solid acceptance of her scrutiny, she saw it again. The parallel. Her mate had looked at her that way, not at the queen, but at her, in their private chambers, when all titles were set aside. You mirror a shadow, she said, the words hanging between them. A form lost to the void. The sergeant considered this. He glanced at the majestic, terrifying being before him, seeing past the carapace and the crown of living crystal to the utter, frozen stillness of grief. He had seen that stillness before, in the eyes of veterans who had lost everything. He gave a slow, single nod. I understand loss, ma'am, but I am not a shadow. I'm just a man. That is what makes it impossible, she resonated softly. You are not a ghost. You are solid. You are real. And in your reality, You carry a fragment of a song I thought silenced forever. She did not approach closer. The gulf of biology, of species, of station, was too vast. But the terrible, frozen emptiness within her, the cold that had settled in her core since her mate's passing, had cracked. It was not warmth that flooded in, but a sense of staggering, cosmic coincidence. A universe too vast and strange for mere accident. This creature, this human from a turbulent world, walking into her throne room and accidentally humming a tune from her deepest mourning. "Your wife's rhythm?" the queen asked, her voice gaining a fragment of its old strength. "Does it bring you home?" The sergeant's neutral expression softened, just at the corners of his eyes. "Yes, ma'am. Every time." The queen straightened, drawing her royal carapace up to its full height. The moment of private fracture was sealed away, visible only in the new, quiet light in her multifaceted gaze. "Then you will keep your rhythm, Sergeant. And you will keep your post. The summit begins tomorrow. There will be many who seek to disrupt it. Guard this space. Guard the quiet within it." It was an order, but it was also something else. An acknowledgement. A permission. The sergeant replaced his helmet with a smooth motion. The visor hid his eyes once more, returning him to the anonymous figure of a guard. He resumed his position, hands behind his back, gaze forward. The queen ascended the dais, turning to face the great empty hall, her posture once more that of the absolute ruler. But the silence of the throne room was different now. It was no longer the silence of a void, but the silence of a shared understanding. The sergeant stood, a sentinel of flesh and bone and memory. And the queen, for the first time in countless cycles, did not feel the cold of the space around her. She felt the echo, not as a wound, but as a testament. A human guard had arrived, and in his simple, solid presence, he had not broken her grief, but had somehow, impossibly, begun to share it.